Greetings, my fellow fans. Welcome to a special, somewhat atypical video. This is completely off the cuff. I am talking as I'm recording this, and I'm recording to let you all know about a new tool that's becoming available that might be helpful to the Brony community, and indeed artists everywhere, especially if you use vector files through Illustrator. I am currently on the Adobe Illustrator 2026 beta, which means this is the version that will be coming out, but they've released an early version to get feedback. And I learned through my bud Cosmologic that there's a spiffy new tool. What you see before you is my character and what they call a turnaround, essentially references for how the character looks at almost every angle. It took a little while to put together, but it's worth it. Started with my original Silver-Quill pose and worked out from there. But now, there's something special. So let's make a copy, zoom on in, and we're gonna go up to Object, because I am the object of attention in this, and we're going to do Turntable. But not a musical turntable, no, this is very special. And I think it wonderfully fitting that it's a horse used as the icon. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. A little faster now. It's like a Windows update. It just keeps you waiting. Oh, and then it pauses just to make you anxious. So anxious. Okay, we're past the anxious part. Little more. Little more, come on. Come on, I believe in you. Do it. Come on. Whoop. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. Here's our Crusade as a group in the layers panel. So, well, I'm assuming that's a group, but it doesn't matter. You know, I think all that waiting for the same blessed image. But not so. You see this that lies before me. Well, behold, as I spin my character around, right round, baby, right round. Like a record, baby, round, round, round. Oh, good God. And here I wasn't sure I'd have anything for Halloween this year. Well, take a look. Gaze into the eyes of madness. And yet, if I turn this way, he's back to normal. So what's happening here? Well, Illustrator took a look at the shape of the character in a 2D version and extrapolated how one can do perhaps a 3D version, a complete turnaround. And granted, it's not great. Doesn't look quite right. And even if it did, even if it was a perfect replica, which I'm glad it's not, I couldn't really use it because as part of the process, all the strokes become objects. Essentially, let's take a look back at the original guy. Well, this is early work, so basically, these are all objects with strokes on them. And I intentionally made it so you can swap out, say, a wing, move the leg, all manner of stuff. For most people, a turnaround is a reference. For me, it's essentially a base from which I can modify. I can't do that with this version, but that's okay because I'm not looking for the computer to do this for me. This is AI powered. Oh, and now that I've clicked away, I need to turn it into a turntable again. Thankfully, it doesn't take so long. But yes, this is AI, and I realize that's not a great sound for most folks. But I want to start this off by saying I do not endorse AI as a replacement for genuine artists. As far as I'm concerned, no matter how good it looks at first, further study of any AI piece will create a feeling of unease, of artificiality. You know that there's no human effort behind it, no soul in a sense. But what this can be is a great reference for how your character would look at another angle. Usually, I have to go through an entire episode's worth of images just to find a reference for how a character looks at this angle or that angle. How do they look looking this way, that way? This at least takes some of the guesswork out. Although clearly, let's take my... Whoop, there we go. So no, it's not going to replace my work, but it is going to offer me some guidance and a starting idea. AI should be used to take the mundanity out of some processes. If you use AI to remove the background from and isolate a character, that's not really requiring a whole great soul. It's not requiring a lot of depth or effort by the artist. It's just a somewhat tedious process. So if AI can take that tedium out and allow the creative energy to flow to a better design, I'm all for it. Now, I'm not entirely done with this. For you see, there is one thing that this does not, that I have not done, and that is angle it. Yes, you can actually angle the design. So if you want maybe a top down or you're looking up, there you have it. It is very helpful. And if I want to place all of it on a canvas, all I have to do is draw a little line, or rather a rectangle, and here are all the possible poses that the computer can concoct. And like I say, not all of it is quite usable. I find it especially funny, all these strokes in the back of his neck. But it offers a general idea of how the character be shaped. I could use this as a starting point to then draw a more proper and enjoyable layout. So this could be a huge help. Now let's take this a step further, apply it in a few other instances, like my bud Thespio, who is Pennywise for Halloween. Let's create a turntable of him. Once again, we begin the ever-waiting story. Ever-loading taskbar. Ha 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 ha. Oh, I was just about to say it seemed to be loading faster than the last time, but nope. Nope, it's trying to figure this out. It's trying to figure out what to do with all these bizarre shapes. Come on, you're almost there. You are almost there. But not there yet. Why aren't you there yet? Come on. Come on. There you go. I wonder what that last view is. That little 2% at the end? Just a little 2%. There you go. All right, so once again, okay, see how weird this looks? Oh boy. Yep, that's definitely a horror piece. For whatever reason, the what used to be just strokes are now objects, but some of them are vanishing from sight. They're omitted. But that's okay. And here it looks like he's got some freaky mutton chops, which shouldn't be. I mean, they're supposed to be behind his ear. So for whatever reason, the AI has determined that he's doing the mutton chops, but only at this angle. How curious. But again, I can gain a somewhat insight into how he would look in portrait view. And of course, the downward trend. Whoa, that's one freaky looking horn. And upper view. In which case, I think he has a pretty swelled head. It's usually my status. And so around and around we go. Where he stops, well, there's only so far I can take the bar. And it's kind of funny, the view from the back, I'm mostly focusing on his mane, upon his head. But yes, curiously, some of the filler lines disappear. And again, I can draw the entire canvas. And these aren't just previews in their own right. These are now their own separate groups. So I can take them out if I need a specific angle or something close to it and go from there. And once again, here's a turnaround I did of Twilight. Whoop, hello. As I was saying, here's a turnaround I did of Twilight as she's sort of working her way into her new role as Princess of Equestria full-time, full ruler. Now, out of curiosity, how would it look? I've been using the 3/4 turn because I figure that includes the most detail. How would it look if we did a turntable of Twilight from the portrait view? Again, the fact that they chose a horse on a carousel just seems so wonderfully fitting for the Brony community. And here we are with the little paws. Soon it will jump up in unexpected ways. Actually, I expected a bigger jump at that moment, but whatever. Come along now. Come along. YouTube time is money. There you go. Come on. Once again, you can do it. I believe in you. Alrighty. So how does the princess look if we turn from the portrait view? Wow. Okay, wow. Oh, strange thing is I cannot move this bar. I can only move the image, or rather, can I move? Yep, I can. Okay. Well, I learned something new today. Okay, this is not looking so hot. Good Lord. This is crazy talk. Yeah, in terms of offering me idea, like, it's trying. I can see it trying its hardest. But this is such a blob. Now let's do a little comparison, shall we? Let's take another view, and we will try to create another preview. See if maybe a different angle results in a better quality turnaround. Because with a portrait, everything is hidden. You don't really get to see what it looks on the back. At least with a 3/4 turn, you get a general idea of where all the details and features are. So I feel like it gives the AI more to work with. But again, I'm happy if it isn't a perfect replica, if it makes weird choices, because I want to draw and design the vectors to match my workflow. I want to use this to speed up the process, but not remove me from the operation. Okay. So, well, I will say those wings still look pretty freaky deaky. But what about on this side? Turntable, turn for me. Wow. Okay, yeah. Definite difference in appearance. One definitely works better than the other. One of these things is not like the others. But you can see that, well, it's not exactly working out in the portrait view either. It doesn't help that My Little Pony, the designs, they look wonderful, but they don't necessarily follow a rigid structure. Wow. Just wow. And just so we can get a full test. Here is the side view. Generate turntable. This will take just a minute. Come on now. Come on now. Okay. So, I'm going to make... The goal is to change this to look like... Ooh. Hey, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty bad. Wow. But here, if we turn this to its original angle. Not quite there, but not bad either. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that we could have Twilight low angle, though I'm not sure what that would serve in this instance. More like high angle if she were, say, being monitored from above or looking downward. I mean, imagine Twilight addressing the public from her balcony. That'd be a good angle to use. And as usual, or at least as usual in this video as I can make it, all the different angles arrayed around themselves. Some kind of work, some definitely don't work, and some you're just like, wow, computer. Wow. But part of the process was also testing out different symbols, like this, the Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail. It's one of the earliest symbols in human culture, and it really doesn't do well with this turntable thing, because, yep, I get a warning. Artwork may not rotate accurately. Select an isolated subject and avoid abstract shapes or complex selections. Well, I'm going to have it continue anyway, but you can see on the Ouroboros here, oh, well, I can't zoom in while, yep, I can't zoom in while it's rendering this. But even from this further distance or zoomed out, you can see there's a lot of little dots along the belly. There's the pattern on the scales. So compared to the deceptively simple designs of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, something like this is a much harder sell. But I wanted to show you all that warning, but also I want to show how weird some of this can get. Once it's done presenting, come on, come on, come on. Almost there. Oh, my computer is really heating up on this one. That fan's a-going. There we are. Alrighty. So, as I was saying, a lot of little dots. Not great distinction in the part where the snake eats its own tail. But here's what I discovered when we tried the turntable. The AI interpreted that the snake its tail was going behind the head rather than being eaten. So what you get is a very weird tire of sorts. not at all what was intended. So this might prove less useful than other designs. Now, if you say had a snakehead statue, that might be a different story. I'm just going to delete that because it asks so much of the computer. So we're not quite done. Another example is a human skull. I have no idea what that symbol is. Object generate. Turntable. This one, it didn't get a warning because it's much simpler. There are fewer lines. There's not as many patterns. All manner of differences in the design. Essentially, the more complicated you make something, the harder it is for the computer to figure out, how can I display this? So this might also work well in the concept art stage, that you draw just a general shape with a few details, and you go from there. Almost. Spinny beach ball of doom. Oh, you guys don't see the spinny beach ball. That's funny. Okay, so the reason I used this, it was in the same file as the previous Ouroboros, but I found that when I rotated it, it does an okay job, but keep a look right here. As we turn the cheek, note how the biology changes. As near as I can tell, the computer recognizes, oh, hey, this looks like a skull. I will apply general skull features to the process. What we wind up with is that this would be something you'd expect on the lower jaw. But this skull has no lower jaw. So don't be misled. You're still going to need to, say, have a general reference of how things should look. And in this case, well, it could lead you astray if you're not attentive. And again, I'm okay with that because, again, AI is not meant to replace you. It's meant to work with you. It should be a tool to help you. Now then, the Cutie Mark Crusaders School from Ponyville. Let's see what happens if we do a turntable of this, because I don't recall seeing this from many different angles. If anything, I just think the playground in the season 2 episode where Apple Bloom tries to get a cutie mark through a potion, I believe it was called the Cutie Pox. She was doing things on the playground. And so we might have seen the back of the school there. Let's take a quick gander. Fandom.mlp.com. Here we are. Well, that's working itself out. My Little Pony episodes and transcripts. Oh, work with me here. The Cutie Pox gallery. So they do a couple, go through Apple Bloom's struggles. There's the school, still at a similar angle. There's the school at the, again, it's essentially the same angle. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, perhaps I was wrong. All we're seeing is little bits and pieces. Yeah. I don't think we ever saw it from an alternate angle. So then, not perfect. I mean, look at how the shingles on the roof become a little bit sillier. Lines are a little less crisp. This is interesting that it designs the back using information from the front. So you had, what was this? 2 windows and the heart, not quite a bell, not the bell, but just a heart image. So on the back, it essentially duplicated for lack of information. But this is a pretty decent way to get a better handle on things, to understand, if I wanted a aerial view of the school. Hey, not bad. Again, you still need to tighten it up. Use the original. You can just reset to the original. You're still going to need to rely on that for how things should look. And interestingly enough, if I go in and alter this somehow, went too far. Let's say I move this over here. There has been a very strange construction choice. Turntable. If I move it, it automatically snaps back to place because essentially it's holding on to the original image, this one before you, it's holding that in memory. And so any change made is going to be lost the minute you rotate. If I wanted, for whatever reason, to have the entrance to school way over here, I'd have to generate an entirely new turntable. And I'm not going to do that because that would be stupid. But again, you can always... Oh, I hit the wrong button. This is a duplication of the view. So essentially, generative, turntable. Let's say, hey, I really like this view. Well, you can make a copy of it off to the side. There it is. But again, you can really place all views on the canvas right over here. So you have an interesting, if somewhat bizarre, selection. And because it's all vector-based, you can still enlarge and shrink it. There we are. But I have one final test. One grand design. Because I guarantee we've never seen Twilight's Palace from any other angle. I do not know what this will do. Object, generative, turntable, and boy, this is going to take a minute. Uh-oh. Well, this is already a warning. Essentially, this darn castle, with its multitude of crystal facets and all its tiny details, is going to be very hard for the AI to process. But still, I'm curious to see if it will even remotely resemble it. In some ways, this is like the portrait view when I tried Princess Twilight earlier. There's not a lot to gauge depth on this. I've always wondered if we could look at Twilight's castle from the side, how far back does it extend? As Starlight said, it looks smaller on the outside. Well, that's novel. Come along now. Almost there. Almost there. Ooh, there's a nice jump. Come on. Okay. Here we go, everybody. The ultimate test. How well can the computer generate Twilight's castle from the side? Huh. Oh. Okay, so a couple of quick observations. Let's reset to 0. Upon turning, many of these dangling crystals under the balcony and off the side, they disappear. you can tell parts, but it's still hard. Oh, at this point, the only thing that I think really works is about this lower part that makes it resemble a tree, a crystalline tree. Oh. I'd say that maybe, oh, wow, no. Maybe. Just from the lower half, I think would be useful in determining the crystal facets. But if you want to draw Twilight's Castle from the side, you're definitely going to have to bring your own perspective, quite literally, to almost everything. Because man, oh man, that's a hot mess. So again, I'm okay with it not being the end-all be-all. Although I haven't tested it from above and below. Oh boy, this ought to be interesting. Not bad. Doesn't do enough to generate over here what it should look like. And again, once you get about midway around, oh, that's the trouble. Ugh. And then if you wanted Twilight's place to look really intimidating, so yeah, definitely not fearing for artist replacement with this. But all in all, I think this serves well, especially with characters or simpler designs. So it's a fun idea. It's part of Adobe's 2026 package, which means that you're gonna, you can download the beta if you have an Adobe account, or I'm hoping that this will find its way into other vector-based programs like Inkscape. So keep your eyes open, look for if you do a search for alternate to Adobe Turntable, you might find something. In fact, forgive me as the Turntable. All right. Apparently there's a Reddit where someone actually asks, any tools similar to Project Turntable? Thank you. Please check our FAQ. I don't think there's anything else really like it right now. This was a year ago. And this person, actually, this is important to say. I don't think there's anything else really like it right now. The standard AI image generator isn't really able to give you such consistency, especially in a way that's easy to rig. True, but I'm not looking to turn any of these into a rig. I'm looking for them to be a reference as I draw a character from a certain angle. So again, AI should be a support tool, not a replacement. And so, a variety of tools. I'm really hoping that when Adobe rolls this out, other vector programs can get in on it and give people this flexibility to consider even a 2D image from a variety of angles. But I hope this has been interesting, if maybe a little terrifying, and that it's given folks something to consider if it'd be of good use to you. And on that note, I will keep working on my next video, which, well, I've got several fires in the forge, all of them moving forward, but not as fast as I'd like. But until next time, everyone, I hope you're doing well. I'm Silver-Quill. Thanks for watching.